Following on from our North Asia virtual tour, we'll next go to the initial epicenter of the COVID-19 outbreak, China. As the first country to enter this pandemic, China also looks to be among the first to emerge from it. Will the nation be the big winner in this crisis? UOBAM's head of Greater China Equities, Mark Tan, will discuss the various issues that the world's second largest economy faces in the wake of the pandemic. Joining him will be the Chief Investment Officer, Equities, Watson Lee of Ping An Fund Management Company, one of our key strategic partners. Mark, over to you.
Thank you, Joy. Having been first in, first out of the COVID-19 pandemic, China's economic recovery has seen a near V-shaped recovery. GDP growth is expected. China's ability to handle and contain the virus quickly and revive its economy with disciplined, modest stimulus has been applauded by many. Hence, the A-share market has outperformed most global major markets in 2020. The China pendulum has often seen wild swings from pessimism to optimism. From the pessimism 1.5 to 2 years ago, at the height of the US-China trade war, there is now a growing consensus that China stands out well in a post-COVID-19 world with faster recovery and greater policy flexibility. In this section, we would like to explore the following issues. China rally and outperformance sustainable? What are the risks? And what are the investment teams and opportunities in China post-19? In this session, I shall answer from Ping An Watson a few key questions to address these issues. He will reply in Mandarin, and I will paraphrase his answer in English and share some of my thoughts too. So let's start off with the first question. Okay, well, we are seeing signs of China A-share bubble now, like what happened in 2015. How sustainable is the rally this time round? We have seen how big China rallies in the past have not lasted very long and ended with steep corrections. Hello, Watson.
我可以听到你，可以听到我吗？ Can you hear me?
Yeah, 我可以听到你，谢谢 Watson。我们可以继续了。Yeah.
OK， 我们
先给我们回答。
那么我们觉得这一轮反弹呢，这个其实还是有这个比较强的基本面的支撑的，跟之前呢也是不太一样的。第一个因素呢，就是我们现在的其实市场还是分化比较严重，都是这个基本面比较好的这些股票涨的其实是比较多的，而且很多股票是创出了这个新高的。那么我们其实这些公司呢，其实很多都是在这个未来的技术创新的方向啊，还有这个消费升级的方向，都是质地非常优秀的公司这一点跟之前是不太一样。那第二点呢，就是说我们这个现在投资者的结构跟之前的话也不太一样。我们现在其实这个普通的这个散户的投资者的占比是越来越低的，我们这些机构投资者的占比其实是越来越高，他们的行为也更加理性，更加这个提供的价值。第三点呢，就是说我们现在这个政府的一些监管的这个措施还是这个比之前也有很大的这样一个进步，使得我们市场的其实波动的风险也在逐渐的这个降低那么我觉得就是这些因素吧，使得我觉得未来我们其实这个市场的这个在经济逐渐复苏的背景下，未来还是会能够持续的这样一个比较平稳上涨的这样一个状态。Hi Mark。
好，Watson，谢谢你回答。Okay, everyone, let me share the screen with you first. There are several differences between the rally this time and 2015. Yeah, okay. China Asia rebound is part of a global recovery driven by unprecedented global liquidity. Overall valuations are not extended compared to other developed markets like the US, Europe, and other Asian markets like India. The market structure has evolved too. In the past, there was a greater weight of old economy sectors like financials, materials, etc. But now, new economy sectors like technology, healthcare, and consumer, which command higher valuation premiums, take up more weight. Valuations for certain industries are high, like technology and healthcare, no doubt. But we have also seen US tech stocks break new highs too. Nowadays, investors are willing to pay a premium for stocks with good mid to long-term prospects and strong competitive advantages. The investor structure has changed. In 2015, it was very much retail dominated. Now the proportion of institutional and foreign investors has risen significantly. There are more channels to invest in the A-shares now. QFII quotas have been abolished, and there is now the Hong Kong Stock Connect, where we have been seeing rising volumes over the years. Margin financing is now more strictly controlled too. The level now is only half that of the 2015 peak. On the economic backdrop, the 2015 market rally took place under weakening economic growth. Now, in 2020, post-COVID-19, the economic recovery is evident and growth is picking up. Now, the government is also pushing hard to reform and develop the capital markets. On the regulator's tone and stance, while the government was initially encouraging of a bull market, the tone is more subdued now. In fact, they are taking preemptive measures to cool down speculative fervor. Monetary policy has been disciplined. We have not seen much rate cuts now, for instance, as compared to the end of 2014 and 2015. Okay, I would like to now share with you another slide to illustrate further structural positives we see in the China-Asia market. Okay, in this slide, it shows that the weight of China A-shares in global indices is set to increase significantly over the next few years. MSCI has included A-shares into global and emerging market indices since 2018 at 5% inclusion, and now it's at 20% inclusion. In 5 to 7 years, it will reach 100% inclusion, which means that, ceteris paribus, the weight in indices is going to go up by about 5 times, and this will draw in a lot of fund inflows. Moreover, domestic and for household institutional holdings of equities is still very low in China as compared to other developed markets like the US. So there is much increased allocation. So while the Asian market has outperformed this year, we have not seen the exponential rise as past bubbles. Hence, this and with the factors mentioned above, we believe the rally could be more sustainable this time and won't be followed by a crash as happened before. Okay, thank you. Then I'd like to do another question. This time it's about the rising US-China tensions. How do you think US-China tensions will affect your investment strategy? For example, if the US restricts chip supplies to Huawei, will this adversely affect China's tech sector, where you have significant exposure? Over to you, Watson.
好的，能听清吗？我的声音？
谢谢，没有听到你，谢谢。
那么对于这个就是中美的关系对于市场的影响呢，我觉得其实可能对于这个中短期的一些市场情绪的影响可能会相对更多一点，但是我觉得呢，其实并没有改变中国经济长期发展的这个趋势，像这个消费升级的这个趋势，像这个科技创新的这个趋势，因为呢，我觉得其实从这个历史经验来看的话，其实这个外部的这些压力的话，其实反而是使得中国的这个企业、中国的这些科技产业能够尽快的把这些之前的短板弥补过来，那么的话可能很多的这个创新的速度是有可能甚至超预期的，所以我觉得呢，就是只要这个中国的这个政府保持一个更加开放的这样一个政策环境，吸引这个外面的企业进来，然后的话继续改革我们的这个内部的这个政策环境，那么我觉得其实 中国的这个长期的发展态势是不会受到影响的。那同时呢，作为投资策略来说呢，我们在短期上也会适当控制一些短期波动的风险，那可能就是会降低一些这个跟这个贸易摩擦、科技摩擦相关的一些板块的一个配置，然后增加一些这个内需相关的一些板块的配置，消费医药这些板块的配置，然后控制一些短期的这个风险。但是对于长期的这个科技创新的一个方向，我们还是长期看好的。好的 ，Mark。
好，谢谢 Watson. Thank you for your answer, Watson. Okay, let me share this slide with you, everyone first. Okay, obviously, we see rising U.S. tensions. However, they are not new. They have been with us for the past 2 to 3 years and are likely here to stay. Though we do note that the contentious issues have been broadening beyond just trade and intellectual property to issues like technology leadership, the South China Sea dispute, Hong Kong freedom, human rights, espionage, to even the cause of the pandemic, who caused COVID-19, for example. Notwithstanding all this, we have seen the China market become less sensitive to each episode of rising tensions over time and continue to rise along with corporate earnings. We do recognize that there will be a lot of saber rattling in the lead up to the US elections as politicians try to distract voters' attention from internal domestic problems they face. So being tough on China has become a popular stand. However, we believe the US will stop short of an all-out trade war with China at this time, as they are in a weak economic position due to COVID-19, as compared to 2018 and 19, when they were in a position of economic strength. I also believe that the US-China Phase 1 trade deal will hold, as the US needs China to buy more US agricultural goods to support their farmers, an important electoral base for President Trump. With regards to how it impacts our investment strategy, we believe it is difficult to forecast the path of US-China relations, whereas we can assess companies' mid to long-term fundamentals with greater certainty. So our investment focus remains bottom-up, assessing how industry structure changes and whether companies have the ability to overcome difficulties and gain market share. We build a balanced portfolio with both growth and value styles and diversify across industries. We believe this allows us to adapt to different market environments. Hence, the US-China tensions, in fact, has little impact on the way we invest. Over the past few years, China has made great progress in the various fields of science and technology, and has filed a world-leading number of patents and published works. The US is trying to contain China's technology advance, but this has just made China accelerate its own technology R&D, innovation, and industrial upgrade. This actually brings on investment opportunities in selected sectors and stocks, including technology. Hence, we continue to maintain a significant exposure to the tech sector. With regards to Huawei, the US potential supply restrictions will certainly hurt Huawei and companies that rely heavily on them in the short term, but it may conversely also serve as a positive stimulus for China's domestic technology sector. For instance, in addition to industrial policy support, we have seen Huawei increase its orders from domestic companies during this episode. So we will continue to invest in technology companies whose dependence on foreign source inputs is low, which are continuously improving their own technology, have strong competitive advantages, and post-COVID-19 will gain further market share. Okay, next up for you, Watson. Where are the investment themes and opportunities in China post-COVID-19?
好的 ，Mark。对于这个新冠疫情之后呢，我觉得呢，其实这个大的投资的这个方向和投资的策略的话，我觉得其实还是跟之前是这个差不了太多的。是，那么第一个这个大的这个投资机会呢，我觉得其实就是我们的这个 消费升级的这个趋势应该还是能够持续的那么最近呢，其实中国政府也越来越强调我们国家的这个对内需的这样一个挖掘，在面对这个外部需求的一个压力的这样一个背景下，其实在这个内需这一块应该还是会有很大的这个投资空间的那么第二个方向呢，就是说这个医疗相关的这些产业可能应该还是会有一个不错的这个机会，因为的确是呢，新冠的这个疫情的话，可能会持续的时间相对比较长一些。那么相关的医疗器械啊、疫苗啊、创新药啊这些东西的话，应该可能还是会有很大的这个需求的。那么第三个方向呢，就是说还是科技创新的这个方向。那么在这个科技创新的方向的话，现在政府是通过这种加大对这个直接融资的这种体系的一个支持，然后推动这些科技企业的这个快速的这个发展那么我觉得在疫情的期间已经体现了我们一些这个5G 的一些应用后续的话可能还是会有非常多的科技领域的这些投资的机会无论是5G 还是新能源还是先进制造这些产业都是有非常多的机会的。好的吗？
好，谢谢 Watson. Thank you for your answer, Watson. Okay, while global economies and aggregate demand struggle to recover post-COVID-19, massive monetary and fiscal stimulus policies will push up asset prices and increase the polarization between the rich and the poor. The US will continue to look inward, seek to further decouple from China and insource its own supply chain. Other countries will inevitably have to join the dispute and take sides. The trend of deglobalization, or what we term economic involution, could become dominant. In this context, we believe China stands out as an attractive investment destination for the following reasons. First, China can implement efficient and effective governance and take a long-term view on policy. They don't have to hold elections regularly and provide short-term political quick fixes. Second, their domestic market is huge, with multiple and diverse demand drivers. Third, China still has ample policy ammunition with positive real rates and just a modest fiscal deficit. Fourth, China continues to open up to the rest of the world. Okay, let me show you a next slide on the investment opportunities. The pandemic will prompt increased healthcare investments, lifestyle changes, for example, telecommuting, and the online economy will take off on a new trajectory. Hence, we see three main investment opportunities post-COVID-19. First, medical infrastructure development will accelerate. China will issue 1 trillion RMB worth of pandemic special bonds to fund local public health infrastructure. Sectors that benefit from this are medical devices, vaccine development, innovative drugs, and related industries. Second is consumption upgrade. Given China's huge and diverse domestic demand, China's internet economy has developed by leaps and bounds, and the pandemic has spawned a large variety of online entertainment and consumption. There are also other forms of consumption upgrade in traditional goods, services, and changing patterns of consumption among millennials. Thirdly, the US attempts to contain China's technology advance has spurred China to accelerate its own technology and industrial upgrade. The technology sector represented by 5G, semiconductor chips, new energy, and advanced manufacturing is progressing rapidly. Investment opportunities in these sectors where China has certain competitive advantages. Okay, let's now turn to the audience to take some questions. Okay, as we are waiting for some questions from the audience, we have received some questions in advance. So let me go through them first. Okay, well, this question is, what is the outlook for the China market? Is there still growth recorded over the pandemic period? Has China been increasing foreign expenditure, and in which areas and industries?
OK 吗
Over to you, Watson.
OK， 二季度的中国的这个经济的增长速度是这个3.2%，这个还是比较不错的一个增长速度。那么下半年呢，这个经济增长速度应该还是会逐季的恢复。那么我们认为呢，就是短期的这个大的这个支出不会有大幅度的这样一个增加，因为这个首先呢，中国这个经济这次的这个刺激的这个政策力度还是比较这个平稳的。完了，第二点呢，就是中国这个对外支出的话，主要是这个石油啊、农产品以及服务的这个支出。中国现在在落实这个中美第一阶段这个贸易协议，会加大这个农产品的这种采购，但是其他行业比如说一些半导体的这些采购，其实肯定就会有所收缩。所以说，我觉得就是整体来看，中国对外的这个开支的这个增加的话，可能不会特别大。那么增加的话，可能会主要是一些先进的一些机器设备这块的话，可能都是因为国内的这个制造业的这个新增产能的这样一个投资。这块的话，可能很多设备这个国内还没有办法完全替代，需要进口。OK 吗
？OK， Watson， 谢谢你的答案。Thank you for your answer, Watson. We have seen China's second quarter GDP grow by 3.2%, which was better than market expectations of 2.4%, and a rebound from the first quarter when GDP fell by minus 6.9%. In fact, I think there are many forecasters out there who think that China's GDP might even exceed the US in the second quarter, as the US is expected to see a plunge in GDP growth. So for China's GDP growth, having achieved 3.2%, much of it was due to the strength of fixed asset investments and even exports too as well, as China continued to gain market share in exports. We have also seen a good recovery in property sales, industrial profits, and strength in certain pockets of consumption such as e-commerce, luxury autos, and home appliances. Looking forward to the second half of the year, we expect GDP growth to reach 5 to 6%, mainly due to a broader base pickup in overall consumption and infrastructure. And having reached that level, we would have returned to pre-COVID-19 crisis levels of 6%. With regards to China's foreign expenditure, it is mainly on agricultural goods, petroleum, integrated circuits, tourism, and other services. China is actively implementing the Phase 1 of the China-US trade agreement and increasing the purchase of agricultural products. But demand in other industries have fallen mainly due to the decline in oil prices. China's domestic substitution of semiconductors and the lockdown in travel and other services due to the pandemic has also contributed to the decline in other types of foreign expenditure. However, China will likely increase foreign expenditure in certain other components of advanced machinery equipment as part of the industrial upgrade, which cannot be produced domestically in the short term. Okay, thank you. I'd like to invite the audience to have any questions that we could answer. Okay, as we continue to wait, let's go on to the next question from the audience that we have picked up before this Mid-Year Outlook seminar. What are the tailwinds and headwinds for the China market going forward?
OK 吗？对于这个中国经济和市场的这个下行的这个风险呢，就是主要有2点。第一点呢，就是说中美的这个态势进一步的这个升级，紧张的态势进一步的升级。 第二点呢，就是说疫情的话，在这个冬季的时候有一个超预期的爆发，这个是两点风险。那么上行的这个积极的因素呢，主要是三点。第一点呢，就是全球的这个疫情得到超预期的控制，比如说疫苗这个研发出来了。第二点呢，就是说中国国内的这个政策，这个改革开放的这个力度进一步加大。第三点呢，就是说可能我们这个市场的这种财富效应带来内需的这个超预期的这样一个回调。OK 吗？
OK， 谢谢 Watson 你的答案。Thank you, Watson, for your answer. Okay, let's talk about the headwinds. The first headwind, obviously, is escalating U.S.-China tensions, putting pressure on supply chains. But we have addressed this issue already, as in that there are actually investment opportunities as it accelerates China to push forward on its technology R&D and industrial upgrade. There could be a second or third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, causing further economic lockdowns again. We have seen, even in the case of China, that they have seen another outbreak, but it's been solved, small and isolated, but they've been able to tackle it successfully. Tailwinds include, for the market, include the pandemic is now under China, the global economy is picking up, and exports have rebounded. China is accelerating its own economic and market reforms. The pace of state-owned enterprise reforms has been, which may lead to a domestic manufacturing investments. And last but not least, the stock market wealth effects will create a virtuous economic cycle, spurring further sales recovery in property and automobiles, which will feed on to higher valuations in the sector of the stock market. Okay. Thank you, Watson, for sharing your unique insights with us and the audience for tuning in. To sum up, we believe China's outperformance is underpinned by its attractive growth prospects and structural positives in spite of COVID-19. The rally this time round should be more sustainable compared to the past. Policy stimulus is leverage is more controlled, and long-term structural tailwinds such as favorable capital reforms. China A shares representation in global indices will also rise significantly. Valuations are not extended, and the market is still cheaper compared to most developed nations. China, having interest rates and a modest deficit, also has ample policy ammunition to tackle future contingencies. US-China tensions obviously are a clear and present danger. However, it has incentivized China to accelerate its technology and industrial upgrade, creating investment opportunities in certain sectors and stocks. Post-COVID-19, investment opportunities in China lie in healthcare, such as medical devices, vaccine and innovative drug development, consumption upgrade, largely represented by the internet economy, and technology, such as 5G, semiconductors, new energy, and advanced manufacturing. Okay, that wraps up our China First In, First Out session.